In the Middle Ages, Europe and the Middle East stood divided. On one side were the Christian states, collectively known as Christian Empire, and on the other, the Muslim states. This division was marked by tension, mistrust, and frequent warfare. At the heart of this conflict was the Byzantine Empire, what remained of the once mighty Eastern Mediterranean, a bastion of Christianity in the Eastern Mediterranean. But in the 11th century, the Byzantine Empire faced a formidable new threat, the Seljuk Turks. Originating from Central Asia, the Seljuks migrated south, embraced Sunni Islam, and forged an expansive empire. Their ambitions clashed violently with the Byzantines in 1071 at the Battle of Manzikert, where they dealt the empire a catastrophic defeat. This loss allowed the Seljuks to seize much of Anatolia, including key cities like Nicaea and Antioch, treasured in Christian history. When Sultan Malik Shah of the Seljuks died in 1092, his empire splintered into competing factions. But this fragmentation offered little relief to the Byzantines, as Anatolia became a battleground for local warlords vying for power and plunder. In desperation, Byzantine Emperor Alexius I, Comnenus, appealed to the West. He sent a plea to Pope Urban II in 1095, asking for military assistance against the Turkish threat. This wasn't the first time a Byzantine emperor sought aid from the West, but this appeal would have far-reaching consequences. Pope Urban saw the request as an opportunity, a chance to mend the fractured relationship between the Western and Eastern churches after the Great Schism of 1054, to assert papal authority over unruly nobles in Europe, and to unite Christendom against a common enemy. Most of all, he saw a chance to reclaim Christianity's holiest sites, especially Jerusalem, which had been under Muslim control for over 4 centuries. At the Council of Clermont in France, Pope Urban II delivered a rousing sermon to assembled clergy and nobility. He called upon Christian knights and soldiers to embark on a holy mission, to aid their fellow Christians in the East and reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim rule. He offered a powerful spiritual incentive. Any who joined this cause, not for wealth or glory, but for devotion, to substitute their journey for all penance, gaining forgiveness for their sins. The Pope's words ignited a wave of religious fervor. His audience erupted in cries of "Deus vult! Deus vult! God wills it!" This rallying cry spread across Europe, inspiring thousands. Nobles, knights, and commoners alike took up the cross, donning the symbol of a crusader. Though some sought fame or fortune, the majority were driven by a desire for spiritual salvation, willing to face the hardships of a perilous journey to secure their place in heaven. Pope Urban had envisioned a disciplined military campaign led by seasoned knights. However, his call to arms resonated beyond his expectations. Ordinary townsfolk, and peasants, inspired by charismatic figures like the French priest Peter the Hermit, joined what became known as the People's Crusade. Unfortunately, this untrained and poorly equipped force caused chaos along their route in the Rhineland. Some among them massacred Jewish communities, atrocities condemned by the Church, but with little effect. In the summer of 96, the People's Crusade, numbering between 200 and 400 set out for the east. Lacking discipline and leadership, they plundered Christian lands in Hungary and the Byzantine Empire for supplies. Upon reaching Constantinople, Emperor Alexius quickly ferried them across the Bosphorus into Anatolia, eager to rid his empire of this unruly mob. There, they faced disaster as Turkish forces ambushed and annihilated them. Meanwhile, Europe's most powerful nobles began assembling their armies. Unlike the People's Crusade, these forces were well-armed and disciplined. Leaders included Godfrey of Bouillon and his brothers Eustace and Baldwin, Hugh of Vermandois, brother to the French king, Duke Robert of Normandy, son of William the Conqueror, and Count Raymond of Taranto, and Tancred from southern Italy, among others. Together, these leaders and their contingents converged on Constantinople, forming an army of unprecedented size, perhaps 600 strong. This vast force unnerved Emperor Alexius, who had only anticipated a small group of mercenaries. To ensure their loyalty, Alexius demanded oaths of fealty from the Crusader leaders, promising them supplies and guidance in return. Reluctantly, they agreed, and the Byzantine Emperor ferried them into Anatolia. The Crusaders soon proved their mettle. At Nicaea, after a 6-week siege, they forced the city's surrender. However, Byzantine forces claimed the city without allowing the Crusaders to plunder it, souring relations between the two groups. Pressing onward, the Crusaders marched in 2 columns through the Anatolian heat. Near Dorylaeum, Bohemond's vanguard was ambushed by a large Turkish force. Despite suffering heavy losses, the Crusaders held their ground until reinforcements arrived, turning the tide and securing a major victory. From there, the Crusaders continued their arduous march. In the mountains of Cappadocia, they suffered from heat, hunger, and the loss of critical supplies. Baldwin of Bouillon and Tancred broke off from the main force to seize opportunities for wealth and territory, with Baldwin establishing himself as Count of Edessa, the first Crusader state. By October 1097, the remaining Crusaders reached Antioch, a critical stronghold on the road to Jerusalem. But their journey was far from over. Disease, starvation, and encirclement by enemies brought them to the brink of destruction. Their survival and the success of the First Crusade would hinge on a miraculous turn of events.